Hello wrestling fans! In this video we're going to be ranking every single model of Roman Reigns in WWE games. Each model of Reigns will be ranked into 5 tiers, those being head of the table, which is God tier, good, indifferent, bad, and disrespected the tribal chief, and nobody wants to do that. Before we get started, please note our rank system will mainly be focused on the head and face of each model, as those are the most important parts, but we'll also take into consideration the body and the attire, for accuracy and attention to detail. So let's kick things off with WWE 2K14 and this Shield model of Reigns. In my opinion the face looks good, but the skin texture looks very dry, no shine or sweat are on this model. Reigns' tribal tattoo looks very impressive, and the attire looks in proportion and nothing is oversized, which has been an issue in future WWE games. Reigns' hair also looks good. You can see it slicked back, but it doesn't quite have that wet look that Reigns has in real life, but this is something that most models have lacked. Overall, taking into consideration all parts of the model, but most importantly the face, I think we can rank this one as good. On to WWE 2K15 and 2K and Visual Concepts stepping up to what was then next gen consoles, and the question that I'm asking, and I'm sure you are too, is what happened to Roman Reigns' eyes? Your guess is as good as mine, because they really hurt this model. They are starey, a bit glazed over, and they just don't look very good at all. And if there was some improvement in the eyes, the face actually looks half decent. But the eyes are the major problem for this model. They just throw me off. The body looks okay, but the skin tone is not quite right, and we've gone from a dry look in 2K14 to this too glossy one in 2K15, and it just seems at this stage that 2K and Visual Concepts couldn't get sweat and perspiration to look right at all. The overgloss that I complain about could have been used in his hair, because that has no detail at all, and once again it doesn't achieve the wet look that we're used to seeing with Reigns. All in all, it's a bit of a shocker for me, because 2K15 has some of the strongest models in the 2K franchise, but unfortunately I'm going to have to rank this one as bad. WWE 2K16, and it's safe to say an improvement on 2K15. Things that stand out on this model are the hair, a much more improved look with more texture being put into it, so you get a definition between short and long. You also get that stubble around the goatee, some nice touches here. The skin tone is actually taking a step back to what we had in 2K14, with the gloss look going away and being more dried out, but I think it kind of works here. The model does have a fair amount of positives. The attire's okay as well, although I'm going to put it indifferent, as I personally think they can still do a bit better. WWE 2K17, and I think this backs up my point for making 2K16 indifferent, because they have made some significant improvements, and finally they've got to grips with Roman Reigns and his crazy eyes. These look much better. To sum up this model, it seems that Reigns has gone through quite a bit of cosmetic work. His eyes are focused, he has more expression, and it looks like they've gone to work with more sculpture and design towards the face. I personally think this is more accurate. 2K17's attire also shows something that I don't think the other models have, and that's the use of different materials, with each part standing out, something you don't really pick up in the last few games. My only negative for this model is the hair. I just don't think it's as good as 2K16, but I do acknowledge that this is better overall, and he does look more accurate. Does this model look better than the 2K14 model? I wouldn't say that, so I'm going to put it alongside it in good. On to WWE 2K18, and I was thinking we would see a similar model to 2K17, but it actually looks quite different. This might be due to the improved graphics engine implemented in 2K18, but does it actually improve the model of Reigns? The main thing I notice here is the eyebrows. Yeah, the eyebrows. The eyebrows appear to be more bold and lifted, almost creating a people's eyebrow. This isn't The Rock. Everything about this model seems to be a bit closer together. The eyes, the nose, they seem to be pushed in. I think from some angles he does look good, but on others, not so much. Dare I say it? It's a bit of an overall step back from 2K17. The hair looks improved, I'll give it that. It does get a bit of a wet look, but I think many people would say that the model looks good because of the textures, and that's because of the graphics engine improvement. But does it look better than 2K17? Not particularly, so I'm going with indifferent. Say hello to WWE 2K19. I'm going to start with the hair because it looks really good. Probably the biggest plus point of this model. It's got that wet look about it. Well done. But besides that, the face is basically the same as 2K18 with maybe slightly less texture, and there's no significant improvements. So with that in mind, unfortunately, keeping it in indifferent. WWE 2K20. Now 2K20, you're probably expecting me to say this model is horrendous, a bit like the game, but I'm not. At first glance, I really like this model, but then if you take a better look at it, I start to question it, and I gradually question it a bit more, and then a bit more. So let me elaborate. I tend to think this model is better than WWE 2K19, but I can't quite put my finger on why. There's still something about this model that doesn't make me want to put it in good. Maybe it's the beard, because that's not good. The lighter stubble looks nice, but the darker goatee, much like most of 2K20 models, looks wrong. One upside is Reigns actually has his full chest tattoo. In previous games they only completed part of the tattoo, but it's fully complete here, which allows you to create a vestless tribal chief look. So there are some positives, and I do prefer this to the 2K19 model, but I can't really say it's good, so again, it has to be ranked in indifferent. WWE 2K Battlegrounds. So we have to take into account that this is a different aesthetic they were going for, and they weren't looking at accuracy, but instead a caricature design of the model. So with that in mind, did they do a good job? Well, if you watch my previous ranking video of Edge, I actually liked his model in Battlegrounds because I still think it captured the essence of Edge. But with Reigns, I don't think they did the same. His face reminds me more of Reigns' brother, Rosie. Even the model has a similar body type. It doesn't look like Reigns. Being that it doesn't look like Reigns, I think it has to go in the lowest rank. This has disrespected the Tribal Chief. WWE 2K22. In the first initial trailer where we saw Reigns, it actually looked like we were in for a similar model to recent years, but following the most recent trailer, Reigns looks completely different. This is without doubt the best model of Reigns we have seen. Everything from the face, the hair, the beard, it all just matches what we see in real life. There can be no doubt. This is our Tribal Chief. I'm really impressed with it, and so WWE 2K22 is going in God tier, at the head of the table. So out of 9 models, we only ranked 1 as being head of the table, and 1 totally disrespected the Tribal Chief.
Pretty good! Pretty good!
But what do you think? How would you rank them? Let me know if you're enjoying this series, and if you want to see more, who should we rank next? Make sure to leave us a comment, why not drop a like on this video, and until the next one, thanks for watching.